Hey everybody, it's Scott Jansen here. In this video, I want to talk about blending ACH, which is Advanced Conversational Hypnosis, which is what we teach, and traditional hypnosis. As you can imagine, I get this question a lot. People say, can I, once I've done like the ACH training, can I go ahead and blend my old ways of doing hypnosis? And my answer is always no. You cannot blend traditional hypnosis, traditional coaching, or even traditional hypnotherapy, NLP. I could even take out the word traditional because it's all taught the same. Everyone really teaches the same thing, guys. You can't blend that with ACH because of the timeline that ACH has compared to traditional hypnosis. So I want to talk about that here because if you are trying to blend it and you're wondering why ACH is not working, it's because you are blending it, okay? Either stick to one or the other. It does not blend at all, okay? So traditional hypnosis timeline, what does it generally look like, guys? And again, it doesn't matter who your mentors are, guys. It's all taught the same thing. It might sound different. It might look different. The sales page might be different. The name of it might be different, but it's all the same thing. It all follows this very traditional hypnosis timeline. Number one, you usually start with like a pre-chat, suggestibility test. You might talk about what hypnosis is and isn't. Then you might get into the relaxation part, the brainwave stuff, the trance, deepening a client, walking down the stairs and going deeper, all of that stuff. Then you move into like the therapy suggestions. You might use a regression. You might use a timeline. You might use a visualization, which is like the technique used to have the therapeutic breakthrough. Then you might use some more therapeutic suggestions. You might get into reframing a client's problem. Then you'll give some post-hypnotic suggestions and then some audios and homework. And you usually repeat this over multiple sessions. Now, what's funny here is you're going to repeat the same timeline over and over and over again. And it's basically so the unconscious mind needs to be reminded over and over again, sort of like drilling in this new idea or this new insight over and over until it gets it, okay? Here's the thing I always think about. You can do the wrong thing over and over. It will not make it the right thing, okay? So like I said, number one, pre-chat relaxation, therapy suggestions, reframing, post-hypnotic suggestion, audios and homework, repeat multiple sessions. Generally a traditional hypnosis session, okay? What an ACH timeline is we actually start by doing things backwards. So what does that look like? We begin by investigating the problem. We use something called our hypnotic interview, and we're looking for something called unconscious moments. So already we have bypassed the hypnosis stage. So if you look at the traditional hypnosis timeline, what do we start with? Pre-chat, relaxation, therapy suggestion. That's all basically the trance thing. What we go into is doing the therapy first. So we've skipped the first two, if not three steps straight into the therapy. And I'll talk about why we do it that way in a moment. I'm thinking, well, Scott, doesn't a client have to go into trance in order to have a breakthrough? Absolutely not. We start with the therapy first, okay? We investigate the problem to find off the real unconscious payoff. We then begin to help our client untie knots, break down what are called clashing realities. These are just various types of therapy that we use. I can't go through them all, but there's quite a few of them there. But they're all ascend to create a therapeutic breakthrough. Nothing about hypnosis yet. We're not doing the trance or hypnosis or anything yet. Then we do allow our client to go into what is called processing with some process instructions. That's when they're very internal. You could call this the start of the trance. That's when they're very internal and they're breaking down these old knots, these old patterns, these old ideas, thus creating some new emerging phenomena, which is, we know, are aha moments. Then we begin to increase trance. Is the only time. We're at step 4 now, and this is the first time I'm talking about hypnosis. If it naturally occurs. Now, what are we saying here? If my client spontaneously, and that's the keyword, spontaneously or naturally, goes into trance as a result of the first 3 steps, I will increase it. I'll deepen it. But if they don't go into hypnosis, I don't care. You've got to realize, guys, your client's unconscious mind is way more intelligent and wise than you are. If it deems it necessary for your client to go into this thing we call trance, it will take them there. The depth, it will take them to the right depth. The visions they see, the regression they have, the visualization, whatever they see, the clients will do that themselves. This is what we call an organic therapy, organic trances. And when your client goes into those places, you just got to make sure essentially they're safe. Now look at the difference here. Traditional hypnosis timeline, we're forcing a client down a road to go to. With ACH, we're opening the door for them and they're finding their own road. Now, a lot of people say, oh, that's what I do, Scott. I will guide my clients, I hold space for them, but then they'll go and use suggestions. They'll do the relaxation. They'll do the pre-chat. That means you're not doing what you're saying you're doing. ACH, like I said, we do the therapy first. Then if a client needs to go into trance, they will go there. If they don't, that is fine too. It just means their unconscious mind didn't need to go to those places. That's what makes ACH so freaking quick. Number 4, like I said, increasing transfer naturally occurs. If it doesn't matter. We just move on to step 5, which is the testing phase. We test for certain scenarios. Number 6, we're essentially creating mini sessions if required to untie more knots. So what I mean by this, instead of doing an hour with a client on the natural traditional hypnosis timeline, finish the hour, then you get them in for another hour, then another hour, then another hour, and you have to start from step 1 all the way through to step 6 over and over and over again. We do what are called mini sessions. We will investigate the problem, untie all the knots, see what happens as a result of untying all those knots, and that might only take 10 minutes. We do some testing, and from the testing, they pass like half the testing, and then we find out there's another knot. This is what we call a mini session. We find another knot, we go back to step 1. We're doing multiple mini sessions in an hour. You can maybe get 4, 5, 6 sessions, what would be normally 1-hour sessions, but we could get them all done in the space of 1 hour by adopting this mini session attitude. Again, you have to learn how to do this. Unless you're doing ACH, you're not taught this anywhere else, okay? I'm not gonna send my client home at the end of the hour just to have them come back for another hour and I have to do the pre-chat, the relaxation, the therapy suggestions. I always figure they're in the place anyway where they need to break down these old ideas or these get these new insights, keep them there and just keep grinding through it till all the knots are untied, guys. Number 7, we do tasking to make sure all the knots have been untied. We do some tasking to make sure they go and live their quote unquote best life, if you want to be, if you want to use that statement. Then we look at something called a processing chat, guys. And a processing chat is, the way I really look at it, guys, that's the start of the therapy. A processing chat is letting your clients know that when they go home and over the next day, next maybe hour, might even be next 2 days, 3 weeks, whatever it is, they're going to go through some turmoil. They'll have some happy days, some good days, some bad days, some laughing at one stage, crying the next. They'll be hungry for certain things. They'll go get some insomnia. They go through all this myriad of emotions. This is processing, and this is 100% natural. This is the unconscious mind connecting all the new ideas and making them a new person. And lastly, guys, we leave a client alone to process. I don't book them in again. I don't tell them I'll see you in a week. I'm definitely not going to give them homework or any sort of audio or anything like that. I'm not going to tell them come in for another session. Why? Because processing is, I'm just throwing this number out there, is 1 million times better, more effective, powerful than another session. You're basically leaving the unconscious mind to do what it does best, which is heal. You've untied all the knots so it can heal properly and not hit any road bumps. Let the client process. I know clients that might take 3 months to process before they get their result, but the result they get is way better than every multiple session you could have ever done. Multiple sessions following the old traditional hypnosis timeline does not cure the problem faster, better, or more effectively, because every time you do another session or you have the audios or the homework, you'll interrupt that processing. Remember, your unconscious mind, your client's unconscious mind is way more intelligent than your conscious mind. Okay, so you can see right now, we spend very little, if at all, time on the hypnosis part. If it happens naturally, cool. If it doesn't, that's fine too. It's just as effective. We concentrate on the therapy because clients only come in for therapy, not to get put into trance. Now, you as the hypnotist, if you're in the old traditional stages and you're finding that it's taking a long time, you have to do multiple sessions. Clients aren't relaxing. Clients aren't accepting the suggestions. You don't even know what problem you're fixing because you don't know how to find the real root cause or investigate the problem. You might need to switch things up, guys, and that's where the ACH timeline comes in really effectively. And we've got hundreds of free videos on our YouTube channel talking about ACH, even with demos, parts of our seminars. Just watch all those, guys. You'll see the same language used, you'll see the same ideas brought up, and in some cases, I'd like to show you how to do it on those free videos as well. So hopefully that answers the question, guys. Can you blend ACH and traditional hypnosis, NLP coaching? Absolutely not. Even if you're an advanced traditional hypnotist, therapist, you've been trained by all the top gurus, realistically, guys, they're teaching all the same stuff. It's nothing new. It might sound different, but it's the same timeline over and over, guys. So that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.